Liberator, Conqueror, the Greek cities of Ionia, 334 BCE. See the Alexander's army marching south. City gates opening to welcome him. Scenes of overthrown oligarchs, jubilant crowds. Alexander at Ephesus, redirecting tribute to the Temple of Artemis. Maps showing the spread of Macedonian control. The victory at Granicus sent shockwaves through Persian-controlled Asia Minor. As Alexander marched south into Ionia, the ancient Greek cities of the Aegean coast faced a critical choice. Resist the young Macedonian king, or welcome him as a liberator from Persian rule. Alexander's shrewd policies of overthrowing tyrants, establishing democracies, and respecting local customs painted him as a savior. Yet his ultimate authority remained unquestioned. Was he truly freeing the Greeks, or merely replacing one master with another? Following the decisive victory at the Granicus River, the path into the heart of Western Asia Minor lay open to Alexander. The immediate Persian military threat in the region was shattered, with many of their commanders dead and their forces scattered. Alexander, wasting no time, turned his army southwards, aiming to secure the strategically vital Greek cities along the Ionian coast. His approach to these cities would be a masterclass in political maneuvering, blending promises of liberation with the undeniable reality of Macedonian power. The first major city in his path after Granicus was Docilium, the capital of Hellespont in Phrygia. Its Persian garrison quickly surrendered, and Alexander installed Kala, a Macedonian noble, as satrap, significantly retaining the Persian administrative unit of the satrapy, but placing it under Macedonian control. He then marched towards Sardis, the ancient and wealthy capital of Lydia, a city boasting a formidable acropolis. The Persian commander of Sardis, Mithridates, astutely recognizing the futility of resistance after Granicus, chose not to fight. He rode out to meet Alexander, surrendered the city, its citadel, and its treasury without a struggle. Alexander rewarded Mithridates for his pragmatism, treating him honorably and later even appointing him to a position of authority. In Sardis, Alexander showed respect for Lydian customs and allowed them to retain their own laws. However, he left a Macedonian garrison in the citadel under Pausanias, a different Pausanias from Philip's assassin, and appointed Asandor, son of Philotas, as the new satrap of Lydia. He also organized the collection of taxes, ensuring the region's wealth now flowed to him. From Sardis, Alexander advanced to the great Ionian city of Ephesus, one of the most important ports on the Aegean coast. Here, his arrival was met with jubilation by the democratic faction. The pro-Persian oligarchy that had ruled the city fled. Alexander entered Ephesus as a liberator, restoring democratic governance and recalling exiles. In a particularly brilliant political and propagandistic move, he decreed that the tribute formerly paid by Ephesus to the Persian king should now be dedicated to the rebuilding of the magnificent Temple of Artemis, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, which had famously burned down on the night of his birth. This act not only endeared him to the Ephesians, but also reinforced the legendary connection between his destiny and the goddess. This policy of liberation was generally replicated as he moved through other Ionian and Aeolian Greek cities like Magnesia, Traios, Priene, and Mytilene. On Lesbos, though Mytilene would later require a more forceful intervention. When Memnon temporarily recaptured it, pro-Persian tyrants or oligarchies were overthrown, exiles were recalled, and democratic constitutions were established or restored. Alexander presented himself as the champion of Hellenic freedom, fulfilling the mandate of the League of Corinth to free the Greeks of Asia from barbarian rule. This narrative was highly effective, winning him considerable support among the populace of these cities. who had long resented Persian interference and the puppet regimes it often supported. However, the liberation came with Macedonian oversight. While democracies were installed, Alexander ensured that these new governments were friendly to him and supportive of his campaign. He appointed his own officials to manage financial affairs or liaise with the new city administrations. Garrisons were sometimes placed in strategic locations. The freedom granted was, in essence, freedom within the framework of Macedonian hegemony. The cities were no longer subject to Persia, but they were now firmly within Alexander's sphere of influence. Expected to contribute to his war effort, whether through supplies, manpower, or financial support. Even if direct tribute to Alexander himself was sometimes waived or redirected. The policy was complex and driven by multiple factors. There was undoubtedly a genuine element of Pan-Hellenism in Alexander, influenced by his education under Aristotle and the ideals of the League of Corinth. He saw himself as a leader of the Greeks, but pragmatism was equally, if not more, important. Secure, friendly cities in his rear were essential for his lines of communication and supply. As he advanced deeper into Asia, democratic governments, having been installed by him, were more likely to remain loyal than the oligarchies he had overthrown. Furthermore, by fostering goodwill, he could draw upon the resources and manpower of these prosperous coastal regions. The reaction within the cities themselves was often divided. Democratic factions celebrated their newfound freedom and power. However, the deposed oligarchs and their supporters resented Alexander and often sought opportunities to regain control, sometimes with Persian assistance. This meant that Alexander or his appointed governors had to remain vigilant against internal strife and potential counter-revolutions. In essence, Alexander was skillfully weaving a narrative of liberation, while simultaneously consolidating his own imperial control. He understood the power of ideology and propaganda. By championing democracy and Hellenic freedom, he gained a legitimacy and popular support that mere conquest could not have provided. He was not just a foreign invader, he was, in the eyes of many Ionian Greeks, the leader who had finally broken the shackles of Persian oppression. This phase of the campaign highlighted Alexander's political astuteness as much as his military prowess. He was not just conquering territory, he was reorganizing it, building a new political order under his authority. The cities of Ionia, with their rich Hellenic heritage, were the first major beneficiaries and subjects of this new order. Their liberation provided Alexander with vital strategic bases, resources, and a powerful propaganda victory that resonated throughout the Greek world, both in Asia Minor and back in mainland Greece. The question of whether he was a true liberator or a new, more sophisticated conqueror would be debated by contemporaries and historians for centuries. But in 334 BCE, for many Greeks of Asia Minor, the answer seemed clear. Alexander was their champion. We really hope you had a total amusement watching our video. We had so much fun making it just for you. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe for more awesome content coming your way.